Hi everyone, my name is Callie Goode, and this is the Differently in Motion podcast. I'm so glad to have you all here with me today. I'm blessed and honored to have my wonderful friend Michael here, Michael Ankers from London, UK. Hi Michael, how are you today?
Hi, I'm very good. Thank you for having me. And yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. So as we get started, tell us a little bit about yourself and about your disability.
Yeah, so hi everyone. As Callie said, my name is Mike Ankers, and I am indeed from well, not London, but I'm from a town called Chadderton in England in the UK. So I am 17. I'm a singer, songwriter, YouTuber, and podcaster. So I release original songs, but I also do song covers. And I have a podcast called I have a podcast like Callie does, called the Fabulous and Fascinating Fridays podcast, which is out every Friday at 5 p.m. UK time, which would be about like 9 a.m. Callie's time. Um, and yeah, so my disabilities are the main one is, well, the first one I have is low muscle tone, which basically means I have weak muscles. Well, you know, and I've had that since I was basically just after I was born. I have a type of autism called Asperger's syndrome. And I have two types of dyslexia. One is called dyspraxia, which is obviously more commonly known, that affects your hand and eye coordination. And then I have another type of dyslexia, which isn't as commonly known, called dyslexic overture. And yeah, that's basically a little bit about me and my disability. So there you go.
Well, just in this just in the short time I've known you, I think it's incredible what you've been able to accomplish despite all of those challenges. So kudos to you. So tell us
Thank
a
you very
little
much.
bit about your journey with your disability and how you and came to find your passion and talent in the singer and songwriter space.
Singing and songwriting now, that's a good question. So, I've always liked, I think, like, you know, if everyone loves music, I think if someone said they didn't like music, they'd be like, well, but I have loved music from a very young age, as far as I can remember. Because of my autism, I couldn't talk or walk till I was about 3.5, 4 years old, something like that. But after I feel like from a very young age, I'd always loved music, you know, singing. I think obviously there was the love. I think there was the love of like music first, and then like singing came a bit later. So, I basically got started with like my singing when I was about 9 or 10, because I was in my school choir for a year, and I really enjoyed it. We performed at a few concerts, etc. And then in terms of the songwriting, I've got into that over I think I wrote my first song the first time I wrote a song was in about 2015, because I wrote, all like 2015, 2016, because I wrote a song for my school. And ever since then, I've really, especially got more into singing. I've obviously been in, you know, a few choirs. And then I started on YouTube back in 2019, but with the YouTube channel now, it's more like August 2019 or 2020. And um, I've really got into releasing original songs, because my first ever proper original song was 2019, but my first ever professionally recorded song was 2021 or 2022. So I've been doing it for a long time, and I really enjoy it. And so I've got about 10 plus original songs, as I like to say about now. I've got an EP as well that I released last year. And in terms of my autism, I've got my most recent release is called Awesome Autism, and that is basically a little bit about my life with autism. And so I'm telling my story through music, you know, which obviously as a songwriter and a singer I like to do. And it also reminds people about if you're autistic or, you know, if you have any other disability, how, you know, how it can be awesome to have that, and, you know, it's a part of you, it doesn't define you. But yeah, so that's basically a little bit about my singing and songwriting space journey. So yeah.
Amazing. I'm so inspired by everything that you bring to the table. And what I love most about you already is that you don't let it stop you. So is there anything in particular that you can pinpoint that you've had to overcome because of your disability to become the singer and songwriter, either mentally, emotionally, or just in life? Like, were there any
Uh,
encounters
that,
that you
um,
had to overcome?
yeah, so I think obviously there are, oh, this is hard one. But yeah, so I think there has been a few, because obviously sometimes there may be certain people, you know, oh, you're a singer or something, but oh, you're also autistic, or you're also this. So they may have a perception of, you know, because I didn't know he was, oh, you know, I'm not saying I'm the best singer in the world, but, you know, I think there's sometimes a bit of a negative perception, but also I think sometimes, I'd say sometimes, yeah, I think, like with certain songs that I've written, sometimes I may have not understood how other people may have felt about certain songs, but, you know, I've obviously grown because obviously I've had autism for about 10 years now, since I was 7. And yeah, and I think the main thing is like the 90%, you're you know, you're this, but you're also a singer. It's like, oh, okay, but it's like, yeah, I am. So, you know, and I think in terms of like challenges as well, it's been because it's like, you know, because I think there's a lot of people, you know, that I know a lot of I know a few autistic singers, or, you know, singers with disabilities, and obviously there are a lot of challenges, not just for being a singer, but if you want to do certain things, there may be certain, like, say for example, because of my low muscle tone, sometimes I may get easily tired, and not all the time, but sometimes. So sometimes I may not feel up to doing like maybe performance or something, or with, say, my autism. So I was basically doing a presentation today, and I was explaining this to some technical theatre students. So there may sometimes be things like, if I'm doing a show, not just in like singing wise, but, you know, as a performing arts student, which obviously involves singing, there may be certain things, you know, like light or sound, that may, you know, overwhelm me, because it can, for an autistic person, you know, overwhelm. You know, it's still amazing to do the shows and whatever, but, you know, I think, you know, there is sometimes challenges of like being aware of that. Or say if you have planned to do a show or something has to change, because some people don't like changes. Sometimes I don't like changes. So if you meant to do something a certain day at a certain time or whatever, sometimes if it has to be changed or cancelled, postponed, you know, rearranged, it can be a bit daunting sometimes. But yeah, that's basically what I'd say with the challenges of singing and songwriting. Because that's I tell you what, that's a very good question, because I've never been really like asked that before, like the challenges of being a disabled, you know, singer songwriter. But there you go. Thank you for that question.
Well, you're very welcome. So, what do you have coming up for 2022? What are your aspirations, goals, targets, and what do you want to see for yourself this year?
Well, one of the main things about this year is that I'm turning 18 in May, so, you know, there's going to be a lot of celebrating that. So, you know, becoming a young adult is one of, you know, the main goals and aspirations. But in terms of music, I I am planning on possibly doing an album, but it's in discussion, so that hopefully will be like being recorded soon and things. There's a few people that I would like to collab with possibly this year. So that's that. And then in terms of my YouTube, I would like to get to about at least 500 because I'm currently on about 459. So that doesn't seem like too far stretch of a goal to reach. So 500 or 500 plus subscribers on YouTube would be like main goal for this year. And I think in terms of my new podcast, like keep doing that with that, getting as many guests as possible. Well, start getting guests and just keep trying new projects, trying new things. Is like my main goal is that I'm going to be finishing level 3 performing arts this year. I'm going to be doing an extra year of performing arts in September at college, so that'll be another goal for later this year. And yeah, that's what basically I'd say were some of my goals and aspirations for this year.
I think those are some very very powerful goals you have for yourself, my friend, and I'm very proud of you and doing all these things and being all these different beautiful versions of yourself. So I just want to acknowledge that. And I also wanted to ask, where do you want to be in the future? Like, what are your longer term goals and aspirations?
I think that's a good question. So I think in terms of educational wise, I'm gonna like sort of long term. I'd like to see, obviously like get through, finish college, go to university, do some sort of course or training, obviously get a job eventually. And then in terms of my music, carry on doing music, like try doing different things. I've got so many goals in my music, that are people that I want to collab with, or people I want to work with, or things I want to do with my music. So there's a lot of goals in terms of that. And then I think, just keep having a positive life no matter what happens. So obviously we can't predict the future. And as well as being a singer, also performing arts, I've really got into acting. So I'd love to, like, long term, do at least a bit of acting. I don't know exactly what, but whether it's film, TV, theatre, etc. And yeah, so I think those are some of my long term goals, especially for the next few years and in general.
That's incredible. I commend you on everything that you want to pour yourself into. So what positive message or what piece of wisdom or advice or knowledge do you feel like you can share with everyone that has to do with like what you learned in the space that you're in, being a singer-songwriter, having a disability, and overcoming, like you said, all of the other people's perceptions about what you can and can't do in spaces where disabled people normally don't fit. And I'm sure that space is similar to spaces that I've tried to fit into.
Yeah, so I think in terms of for anyone that has a passion for music or singing, songwriting, producing, whatever, music wise, I think whether you have a disability or not, people are obviously always going to have an opinion of your music, and that's okay, because if you didn't have because obviously it's always good to have constructive criticism, so always remember that. Don't always think, oh, you're doing something wrong. There's always something to improve on. But in terms of being a singer, songwriter, musician, and obviously, like I said, I'm a YouTuber, podcaster, there's always going to be someone hating on you, and the haters going to hate, as they say. And I will say, you know what, if like a lot of people say, if people are hating on you, you're clearly doing something right, and if you weren't getting hate, you'd be doing something wrong. And I think having a disability, and doing certain things that you want to do, and you might be a bit worried, or someone with a disability and they have a certain goal, but they're not sure, and you might want to support them. I think it's just reminding yourself or reminding them, just this is something my mum always reminds me. The word, because I actually have a son called Ability and Disability, but there is the word ability and disability, and the word able and disabled, because you have the ability to do things anyway. Obviously there may be certain things you can't do, just not because people don't want you to do them. Maybe certain things with disability you can't do, but there are so many things you have the ability to do, and if you are able to do them, then, and if you want to do them, then you should have the full right to, and just follow your dreams, live your life to the best you will. So something I always say is just make sure you surround yourself with positive people, positive energy, not toxic, just lovely, positive, happy people. Obviously there'll be a lot of sad times, and that is okay, that is part of life, but make sure you surround yourself with good, positive people, with positive energy and good vibes. I've got a sign here that says good vibes only, so but yeah, so having a lot of positive energy, reminding yourself, if your haters are a hate, let them, because you're clearly doing something right. So and I think, what, if you want to do something and you've got the ability to do it, or you've got the passion for it, just do it. You never know what will happen. And as long as you enjoy doing it, then that's the best thing. And if other people enjoy what you do, like if you're a musician or a podcaster or whatever, other people are enjoying your content or the stuff that you do, then you know what, why not? And you know what, if you're an autistic person, remember, having, as like my son says, having autism is awesome. So yeah, there you go. That's
Well,
my advice, or wise words.
well, I think that's beautiful, Michael. Thank you so much for all of that positivity and inspiration for me and everyone else. So is there anything else that you would like to share with my community and share with everyone?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I have a new song out called Awesome Autism. That is available on YouTube, which is Michael Ankers Music. It's available on SoundCloud, which is, if you just search up my name, Michael Ankers. It's also available on Instagram as well, which is Michael Ankers Music. And as I mentioned before, if you want to listen to my new podcast, that is Fabulous and Fascinating Fridays podcast. That is available on all good podcast platforms. It also has its own Instagram, which is Fab and Fascinating Fry podcast, if you want to go and check that out. My other social media is Instagram, Michael Ankers Music, as I've said, YouTube, Michael Ankers Music, TikTok, Instagram 47, Twitter, Michael Ankers. If you want to search me up on Facebook, because that's how me and Callie found each other on Facebook. You just want to search up my name, Michael Ankers, on there. Snapchat is Michael_Ankers as well, if you want to be friends with me or contact me about anything. And yeah, that is basically that. And again, thank you to Callie from the podcast, and thank you to everyone that's been listening to this episode. And yeah, so that's all I have to say. Remember, there's the word ability and disability. So there you go.
Well, thank you, Michael, for all of your beautiful light and energy. I really appreciate you being a guest. Everyone, I will put Michael's information and all of the contact details that he just described and mentioned in the description box below. And I'll look forward to speaking to everyone next week on the next one. Thanks. Bye.